My eldest son was diagnosed with cancer. And as he went through chemo, the destruction of his body was heartbreaking. It was the 28th of November, 2022. And he rang me. And I said, mate, what's the test say? He said, Dad, I'm okay, but you're not going to be.
Right.
He said, they've given me 12 months. So I rang everyone I knew, every health expert, the Hippocrates Health Centre. So we had to bring to Australia what was being recommended by David Wolfe and Gabriel Cousins, Brian Clement. I've known these people forever, right? So he didn't eat any food for 100 days.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gay Gerard and I'm your host. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a truly exciting guest. Kerry Burke is here from the health and wellness company E3 Live, which is a superfood algae. He's here to share his journey towards a plant-based diet and everything you need to know about this incredible superfood. How are you?
Oh, wow. What a journey I've been on since we last spoke. Wow. It's been complicated.
Okay. All right. We met a number of years ago when I was very interested in E3 Live. I discovered it along my own health journey. First, I'd love to wind back and hear about your personal journey and how you discovered E3 Live and how did you become more interested in moving towards a plant-based diet?
Yeah, it's a great introductory question, Gay. My journey with E3 Live started in 1997. I had three wonderful boys, born 3 years apart. My youngest boy, Benjamin, was diagnosed with ADHD, and his mother and I knew he was different from the start. The other two boys, incredibly well balanced. But the doctor said, Kerry, if you don't medicate this young boy, the opportunity for him to have a normal adult life is basically zero. So you've got a choice of dexamphetamine or Ritalin. And when I refused, I said, I'm not giving my 6-year-old a drug. I'm just not. So he called me a bad parent, which I'm anything but a bad parent. I love my boys. They're all different and I treat them all differently. But that created an environment for me to question things. Okay. So along the journey, through a number of people, we found E3 Live at Klamath Falls in Oregon. His mother and I hopped on a plane and flew over there and met with Michael and Tamara, the two owners, and still are the owners of E3 Live. They're in their 80s. I can't do this type of interaction with Michael or Tamara because they're 25 years older than me, but they look younger. I just can't do Zoom with them. It's too embarrassing. So I stayed with them for a week, brought the E3 Live back into Australia and started to give it to Benjamin straight away.
Can you just give us a quick breakdown for anybody that doesn't know what E3 Live is? Can you just explain what is E3 Live and what is the main component of that? I understand It's AFA. What is that?
Yeah, I actually am in my own bubble when I talk about E3 because there's nothing about it I don't know. But E3 Live was brought about by Earth's essential elements. Okay, E3 Live. So it is an algae. It is a blue-green algae, which around the world, not so much in Australia, that algae is seen as an essential provider of protein and nutrients. It's got your 65 plus vitamins and minerals, your B12, your omega-3s and 6s, and it's an algae. And back in 1997, if you mentioned to anyone in Australia that you were going to give your 6-year-old algae, they would probably ring child services or the police. So little in this country was known about algae, like spirulina and chlorella and astaxanthin and green spirulina. So it was very hard for people to get excited about something that they've grown up being terrified of. And what I've tried to do is explain to people that algae is the same as mushrooms. Some are very, very good for you and some aren't good for you. And there are, about 3,000 species of toxic algae but ours is grown in the most pristine, beautiful place on the planet. And so we harvest from there. We've only got a harvest window of 3 months per year. That's all we can harvest for, because the other time it's either iced or it's too hot. The temperature band of acceptance when harvesting is only about 4 degrees. The Klamath Lake is 140 square mile, and the average depth is about 8 feet. And the exciting part through photosynthesis, and for those people that want to find out a little bit more, as far as people are very concerned about sustainability, if we take out of the lake, let's say 1 tonne of algae to use in our health foods, that 1 tonne is regrown in 20 minutes.
How is that possible?
Photosynthesis. It is
Right.
the most purest, and the lake has a pH level of 13. So it is the healthiest plant on the planet. And algae also produces 50% of our of the planet's oxygen.
Right.
No one knows that. The role algae plays is incredible. So that algae is a plant-based superfood.
Right.
Okay? It's 97% bioavailable, which means whatever you put into your body, your immune system is not trying to kill it because it's pure. Unlike if you put something synthetic into your body, your immune system is just trained to go and kill whatever's in there that's not supposed to be in there. So with Benjamin, if I go back to how I started with E3 Live, is that within 2 weeks of Benjamin starting to consume E3 Live, all of the calls to come and pick him up from school had stopped.
Right.
Okay. So, yeah, am I a bad parent? Probably not. Did I question the science? I probably did. So that's how I got involved with E3 Live. And Benjamin next week turns 32.
Amazing.
He is the most beautiful, gentle soul, well-educated that you will ever meet. And I don't believe he could be any better if we'd given him Ritalin or dexamphetamine.
Fascinating. And so at that time, like, when did you learn about moving towards a greater plant-based diet? What sort of was the tipping point? What inspired you?
Oh, well, I'm going to show you my little finger. You can see that. I've suffered from gout, autoimmune disease, and rheumatoid arthritis since I was 30.
Right.
Okay. So I went through the cocktails of Indocid, colchicine, allopurinol to try and manage the gout. And this is before I got involved with plant-based, because my grandmother, who raised me, and her 2 daughters, one being my mother and one being my auntie, were all nursing sisters.
Right.
I grew up, in and around hospitals and doctors and self-diagnosis. And I was never scared of it until after I had this encounter with the doctor, I became a participant in a drug trial of Vioxx, Vioxx. And Vioxx, after 5 years, was taken off the market because, the reported number of deaths varies between 100,000 and 500,000 people. It was a drug produced by a pharmaceutical company, and it was taken off the market. So they dragged me into the hospital and said, all right, Vioxx is gone. We're going to now give you Celebrex. So as I became more interested in plant-based, because I was a traditionalist, the meat and veg, and I didn't realise what it was doing to me. So I now manage everything with our products. Which, as you get older, your body starts to break down and it needs a lot of help. So I manage my sore knees and my arthritis and the cholesterol and the blood pressure, everything now with blood. And as you can probably see, I'm in pretty good shape.
You certainly are.
It's not because of the pharmaceutical drugs that I was told to take. And in the first instance, Gay, I never questioned it at all until that instance with Benjamin and his ADHD.
Right. And what forms does the algae, the E3 Live, come in? Just for people
there's
that
two
don't know,
types.
because I was taking the powder, but yeah, I know that there's a couple of different.
Okay, so we've got three products. Two are AFA based, and AFA is an acronym, and we love acronyms, for Aphanizomenon floss aqua. That is the botanical name of our plant. There are toxic versions of AFA, but if it's grown at Klamath Falls in the northwest pristine area of the United States, it's absolutely power-packed. From that, we also derive another product called Brain On. Brain On is used for high cognitive support. So if you rely on your brain and your memory, and some people get afternoon brain fog, Brain On is perfect for that. AFA essentially is your purest version of a multivitamin. It's for overall health and well-being. It actually stimulates the growth of healthy adult stem cells that are stored in your bone marrow. So check it out. There's an enormous amount of research on why AFA is so effective, because up until, I got involved with it, Gay, there was no nutritional panels, there was no science. All we knew is that if you took this, you would feel better. Now, you can't do that now. And after experiencing what I found with Benjamin, I thought, well, I wonder how it goes with sports superstars. So for a number of years, Grant Hackett was on it. He was on it when he won the gold medal in Sydney in 2000, and I flew Michael and Tamara over for the Olympic Games in 2000. Kai Hurst, Emma Snowsill, Luke Harrop, unfortunately, who died. These people were glowing in their overall experience with E3 Live. So E3 Live is AFA, Aphanizomenon floss aquae. Brain On is a derivative of that plant where we extract non-chemically extraction of another acronym, PEA and phycocyanin. And our third product is Blue Magic, which is the blue component in spirulina. Like all blue-green algae have a blue component, which is phycocyanin, and it has a green component called chlorophyll, which is incredibly powerful in its... That's why the daily recommended dose is only 1 gram a day.
Right.
It is powerful.
So how soon after you started taking it and also giving it to your son, did you notice benefits? And for each of you, what were the main benefits, both for your son and for yourself?
Okay, well, everyone's DNA is different. Mm-hmm. And the more deteriorated your body is, the more help it needs. Like Benjamin, like he could drink a bottle of like a month's worth of E3 AFA in one session.
Right.
Okay. I can't, because my nutrient capabilities are much less than what a very healthy 32-year-old is.
Right.
So I need to take it slowly. So my experience is 13 weeks is you will notice the difference in 13 weeks. With me, it was 4. With Benjamin, it was basically straight away.
Right. Amazing.
Because he was healthy anyway.
Right.
All we had to do was deal with his neurotransmitters, which was causing him all of his problems. And once, like Benji, he can take his E3 now and just go to sleep on the concrete, where I can't. So, and older people that are taking it, it takes them a little bit longer because their gut health is not as good.
Right.
And their immune system is not as good. And it takes it. So depending on your overall state of health before you take it, I can give you an idea. However, it's different for different people.
Right, that makes sense. Can you just elaborate a little bit more about the harvesting that the company does? Yep. And what sets E3 Live, the company, apart from, because there's so many different types of algae on the market, and spirulina yep. and chlorella. What sets it apart? Is it the region?
Yes, it is. There are 5 harvesters on the lake at Klamath Falls. There can't be any more, but as natural attrition or business attrition happens, E3 Live have been harvesting now since 1991. We're incredibly well established. We export to 70 countries around the world, and we have a million daily consumers.
Amazing.
So the regulatory environment around that provides the opportunity for us to be certified organic, which is your guarantee of purity. So E3 Live is certified organic in the US, in Australia, and also in Europe. We're the only algae coming out of Klamath that have taken the vision of purity and now had it certified. We're also certified vegan here.
Amazing.
In Australia.
Great.
Now, these regulatory and certifications aren't easy. They're just not. And they don't hand them out like they come in cornflake packets. It is real. And the people who take that journey then realise what it takes to be certified organic.
Right.
It's the gold standard. So if you see anything and you want to put it in your body and it's certified organic, take it. I don't care what brand it is. So AFA is the only edible algae that is grown in open water, where spirulina, astaxanthin, chlorella are all grown in man-made concrete ponds.
Right. I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fascinating.
So, and in salt water too. Right. So you'll notice in spirulina that the salt content is higher than what it is in AFA because it grows in salt water in concrete ponds.
Right. That's fascinating. And so if somebody's interested in increasing the plant-based nutrition in their diet, how do you think that the benefits of E3 Live can help somebody that's on a plant-based diet? Do you need to have issues with gout or something like that to be able to take it? Or is it something that you can just add into your normal daily diet to benefit you? Even if, if you don't have any major health symptoms, can you still take it? And yes. Can it still benefit you, and how?
Yeah, I with AFA, the daily recommended dose is 1 gram per day, okay? And in that 1 gram, NASA, who we've been providing algae to since 1995, has done an equation that 1 gram of AFA is equivalent to 1,000 grams of fresh fruit and vegetables.
Amazing.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So if you're looking at, as a vegan, you sometimes have pressure put on, well, where are you getting your protein?
Yes.
Where are you getting your B12? Where are you getting your omega-3s and 6s? Now, I can tell you that, most people have been told over the years that omega-3s and 6s come from fish. Well, it doesn't. Never has.
Right.
It comes from fish who store it that eat the algae. So if you're looking for the purest form of protein, and AFA is about 65% pure protein, so it's got all your macro and micronutrients. It's got your B12, which is perfect for vegans, and it's plant-based pure B12. So, yeah, people who are heading down the path are always run into those obstacles where people say, well, how are you getting all of these other nutrients into your body? You introduce it via E3 Live or other gold standard algae because they're incredibly, incredibly powerful.
And what's the nutritional influence on, cognitive health? And so how does it benefit somebody if they've, anxiety or depression?
Yep.
How does it benefit them?
Yeah, the E3 Live has in it naturally an ingredient called phenylethylamine, or PEA for short. It also has phycocyanin, which are great neurotransmitting nutrients. Now, the AFA is good, but we've got a specific product called Brain On, which has got twice the amount of PEA and phycocyanin as E3 Live. So if you're going to use it for anxiety or depression, or if you want to look at how it can provide better outcomes, and bearing in mind, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I can't unsee what I've seen. Mm-hmm. So across the board, AFA is for overall health and well-being. If you've got specific cognitive, or you have someone on the spectrum, whether it's ADHD or autism, Brain On is the perfect opportunity to try plant-based. And the blue magic is for inflammation. So if you've got an autoimmune disease or you suffer from gout, so the perfect cocktail is Brain On before you have breakfast, AFA in the afternoon, and Blue Magic before you go to bed, because your body responds best as an anti-inflammatory while your body's at rest. And obviously the most appropriate time is before you go to sleep.
Okay, interesting.
And that's it. It's no more complicated than that. 3 products.
Fantastic.
And you can take all of them, and you can't overdose on it. Your body doesn't build an immune response against E3 because it's a food. It's a whole food.
And how does it impact if somebody's wanting to detox? How does it, or they're on a fast, or they're considering doing a fast? How does it impact detoxification? Does it assist in that process, or?
It does, and we say if you're going to use E3 Live, and I'll talk to you about my eldest son a little bit later.
Yes.
The detox, we advise people to be aware of flu-like symptoms.
Right.
It does trigger. If that's your purpose and you're not taking any other food, you are just going on a detox diet for 7 days or 14 days.
So that could be a juice cleanse or a water fast, any of those things. Okay.
Absolutely. So it promotes a better efficiency of your body, which then allows your body, like if you ate meat, it doesn't leave your body for, depending on how healthy you are, 5 to 7 days.
Right.
Plant-based diet, healthy people, it's gone within 24 to 48 hours. So you can actually detox more efficiently and not feel sick while you're doing it. Fantastic.
I'd love to know about scientific research that has sort of validated the potency and the health benefits of E3 Live or AFA.
Yeah, look, that's incredibly important question. The regulatory environment prevents a lot of claims, okay? So, and I hope I'm allowed to say this, but we encourage people to research. Go and research E3 Live Alzheimer's, E3 Live dementia, E3 Live cancer, and the wealth of scientific evidence is just overwhelming. Yes, there are a few knockers, and you know, I've just learned how to use Chat GPT, Gay. It's very exciting for an old guy like me who goes in there and says, "Tell me more about AFA, and and tell me what it is." And the glowing report that Chat GPT gave AFA is overwhelming. Like, I didn't know what it was going to say, because if you go into certain areas of the internet, they will say that AFA is toxic and it will kill you. That is absolutely untrue.
Right.
But people read that.
Yes, of course.
People read that. So when you're doing your research, understand that people who are putting these negative commentaries on our algae are supporting and promoting other products.
Right.
So just beware when you're looking at it. And I'm not saying go and research or don't go and research. If something is catching your attention, or as David Wolfe would say, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to provide you an idea, a question. You go and do your own research. And I think that's an incredibly healthy way to move forward and learn.
I agree wholeheartedly. Sustainability is something that's a growing concern for everybody globally. How does E3 Live prioritize the harvesting, their practices?
So a very, very great question. We can only harvest for 3 months of the year. The rest of the time, the lake is either frozen and regenerating, or the temperature is too hot. We only have a band of about 4 degrees where we can actually safely harvest. So we've got our big barges that go out there and extract the algae. The lake is Lake Klamath Falls. You can read about it in all its tributaries. It's a freshwater lake. It's about 140 square miles in area, and the average depth is around 8 feet. There are some beautiful pictures. Michael and Tamara, who are in their 80s, about 8 years ago, adopted 3 intellectually challenged kids,
right?
8, 10, and 12. right? I don't know if I could do that in my 80s, but these are the most beautiful people you'll ever meet. And these pictures up on their website of these intellectually challenged kids swimming in the lake with the algae is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is the most beautiful thing. So when we harvest, and because of the sustainability aspect, we only harvest what we believe we can sell for the following year, because we harvest every year, but it's only for 3 months. Now, the beautiful thing about the algae and the sustainability is that if we assume that, or we run a scenario that we're going to extract around, let's say, 100 kilograms of algae on this particular barge, through the power of photosynthesis and the power of E3 Live, that product is regrown in 20 minutes. I'll say that again, 20 minutes.
That's remarkable.
The pH level of the lake is 13. And as you know, pH runs from 0 to 15. If you're acidic, you will be more prone to being sick.
Right.
The more alkaline you are, above 7.5, the healthier you are.
Right.
Once again, I'm not a doctor. Do your research.
Right.
But the alkalinity and the power, like you can physically watch it grow.
It's incredible.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
Now, the blue spirulina does not come from the lake.
Okay.
It is grown at the facility in concrete saltwater tubs.
Right.
And we have expertly found a non-chemical way of extracting the blue pigment from the green spirulina, so you're left with blue spirulina.
Right.
Incredibly powerful. But the majority of our products we sell, the AFA and the Brain On, are the freshwater-based algae.
Right.
But the blue spirulina is grown in salt water.
I'm curious to know, you're a representative for E3 Live. You work with them for a number of years. How have you managed to import that into Australia, and have you had any issues or run into any problems in that regard?
Yes, I have. I originally started importing in 1997, and the import rules, and I'm not going to mention specific government departments because I don't want 50 AFP agents coming over my balcony and saying you're being naughty. So okay. I'll just keep it broad and generic. To import algae into this country in 1997 was easy. You just put it down as a health supplement or a dietary supplement. But I got back involved with E3 Live in 2013, and the whole game had changed. You need an import permit. You need to lodge your free trade agreement. You need support from customs, quarantine, border force, you name it. So to run our business successfully and legitimately here in Australia, we are overseen by 8 different federal government departments just to keep our doors open here.
Wow, that's a lot.
And that's apart from Australian Certified Organic, Australian Certified Vegan, non-GMO, gluten-free, all of those things we have to do. So what we saw was that from January 2015, we had to write to the TGA and say, are there any other import requirements for us to import AFA into this country? And they wrote back within a day, God love them, and said, no, we don't. We want you to go over here and be regulated by FSANZ, which is Food Standards Australia and New Zealand, which is a government department in Canberra. They make the rules on what you can import as a food. And then away you go. Then you've got to have label compliance. You've got to meet truth in labelling, country of origin legislation, all of these things that you need just to operate here in this country. However, we decided to move to Melbourne from Canberra in August in 2018. My boys are basically running their own life, and my partner and I moved down to Melbourne, and we started our little business again from here in August 2018. Unfortunately, in February 2019, actually, I'll go back a step. In November 2018, for some bizarre reason, our bank closed all of our accounts. Our merchant account, our personal accounts, our credit cards, our business accounts, everything was closed through an unsigned letter from the bank. Quite bizarre. Now, this is in the middle of the Banking Royal Commission.
Right.
Okay. So there was I'm only assuming there was an allegation that because we're sending all this money over to the United States to buy this product, that we may be participating in unethical money transfers to the United States. All they had to do, really, if you think about it, was to ring E3 Live and get a copy of all our invoices that I paid for. But that didn't happen. So that was in November. So before Christmas, we had to open up new accounts, and and the privacy issues of providing a bank all of your information, which is incredibly uncomfortable and something that I hadn't had to do. And bearing in mind, I was with this bank since 1975.
Oh, wow.
To 2018, and they just shut me down. So then I thought, well, okay, we've come through that. We've gone through Christmas, and then I received an email from a government department that had been provided information that our product can be turned into methamphetamine.
How is that possible?
Well, it's not, because it's grown in salt, in fresh water.
Right.
But you can imagine how seriously this particular government department and all its subsidiary departments took this. So all of our products were seized. They were destroyed.
Oh, my goodness.
We basically had to cease running our business for 4 months. And then this particular department transferred me over to the AFP. And the AFP were incredibly nice.
Mm-hmm.
And after a 4-month investigation, I was provided a phone call from the lead detective to say, Kerry, we can end this today and you can go back to doing business after 9 months of being closed, on the basis that we can find no evidence that you're importing this product with a view of turning it into methamphetamine.
So what do you think spurred that entire investigation? Why do you think that happened to start with?
Look, I don't know, Gay, but I can only assume it was either a competitor or someone that doesn't want E3 Live in this country.
Mm.
So that was from February 2019 to October, and to his word, the detective took all the red flags off our products. We started to get the products back in early 2020.
Right.
Then COVID hit.
Oh.
So from 2018, when we moved to Melbourne, then we were locked in our apartment for seemingly forever.
Yeah, Melbourne had some of the largest or the longest duration of lockdowns anywhere in Australia.
Yeah, that is not a made-up stat. That is real. Right. Apparently, and I don't know, I'm not a Melburnian. I haven't been for very long. But we went from the most livable city for 8 years in a row to the most unlivable city in a very short period of time. But that's okay. We got through that, and you think because my partner and I always reflect back on the year around Christmas time. Unfortunately, her parents both died during COVID.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and we always went to Bendigo, where they were from, and have Christmas with them. And the thing you miss about surrounding yourself with quality people, quality older people that have seen everything, the world wars and, all the things that maybe the new generation aren't aware of.
Absolutely.
So what we did is that we reflected at the end of 2019, and I took a little hand and I said, you know what? I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be okay. So we worked through 2020. We launched a brand new website, which was very exciting. And because I didn't grow up with technology, I didn't grow up with Google or websites or emails. If I wanted to contact a client, I'd have to write them a letter. That's where I come from. So that was our Christmas in 2020. So Christmas in 2021 was a different type of reflection. My eldest son was diagnosed with cancer,
sorry.
a sarcoma in his right knee,
Gosh.
and it was his call to go through traditional medicine.
Right.
Okay. So I nursed him in that little room next door, which is now Chrissy's room.
Right.
And as he went through chemo, the destruction of his body was heartbreaking.
I can imagine, especially for you, heightened as well, because now you know the benefits of, alternative measures to improve health and holistic protocols.
Well, for a time there, Chris believed that he was doing the right thing. And I suppose we're all guilty of saying, well, you go to the doctor, you get cancer, you get chemo or radiation, and that's it, essentially. So he had the operation to remove the sarcoma, which was successful. They removed his shin bone down to halfway down and his thigh bone halfway up and filled his leg full of titanium.
Wow.
Okay. So he's got this huge zipper all the way up his right knee. So that was in October. He was given the all clear as being cancer-free in January 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Fantastic. That's great.
So what happened from there is that he had to go through his PET scans and X-rays and CT scans every 2 months just to, to make sure that it hadn't metastasized and gone somewhere else. Unfortunately, in November of 2022, Chris was called after his latest lot of tests, which happened in October, and the doctor said, Chris, I've got some terrible news. You're now terminal and you have a maximum of 1 year to live.
Oh my gosh, that must have been devastating.
Well, I took it harsher than he did. I remember it was the 28th of November, 2022. And he rang me. And I said, mate, what's the test say? He said, Dad, I'm okay, but you're not going to be.
Right.
He said, they've given me 12 months.
Gosh.
And his son had just turned 2. So it was incredibly hard.
Yeah, heartbreaking.
It was impossible.
Yeah.
After surviving all of the business stuff,
I'm sure,
and my own personal health journey, and Benjamin with his challenges, and so I rang everyone I knew, every health expert, the Hippocrates Health Centre. He wasn't allowed to travel, so we had to bring to Australia what was being recommended by David Wolfe and Gabriel Cousins, Brian Clement. I've known these people forever. And he also rang Tamara, the CEO of E3 Live, and we devised this. Chrissy put together this fasting diet that they believed could help.
right?
Okay? So we went on a fasting diet, which included E3 Live and juicing, right? So he didn't eat any food for 100 days.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Okay.
What was he having on a daily basis?
Well, he bought this juicer. It's not it's a juicer, like a cold press juice machine.
Yes.
And for 100 days. Now, he lost a lot of weight. So he then had to go back to the doctor in May of this year.
Right.
And he got his test results and he rang me and he said, Dad, guess what? The cancer has stopped growing.
Oh, that's incredible. Wow.
I said, okay, mate, look, whoa, hold on. It's been nearly 2 years. This is the first bit of good news that we've had.
Right.
He said, I'm going to go back in early July and get another lot of tests. And I've got the results here. I've actually got the radiographer's results right here. So in July 10, the specialist said, Chris, the majority of your lesions or nodules have now calcified.
Right.
They've turned to bone and they offer no threat to you at all.
That's incredible.
So there were a few other lesions
Right.
but they have stopped growing.
Amazing.
Okay. Now, being August, by now he should be bedridden, in pain,
Yeah.
and requiring palliative care.
That's just absolutely mind-blowing.
And this is real, Gay.
Yeah.
This is real.
I mean, you can't get any closer to
I've actually
home.
got up there his terminal diagnosis report from the specialist.
My goodness.
And he said, Chris, in November last year, if you're thinking of travel and doing it now,
Right.
because next year you won't be able to.
Gosh.
Now, I rang Chrissy, and I still call him Chrissy. I've been calling Chrissy his whole life. So I rang Chris, and every day we speak. You know, he's still going to the pool. Because of his terminal diagnosis, we were able to get his life insurance released.
Right.
And his superannuation released. Now, they don't do that unless they're certain that you ain't making it.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
So we got all his money.
Right.
Which is wonderful. And every day is at the pool with Patrick, my 3-year-old grandson. And, you know, and my youngest, my middle boy, was married in Melbourne on the 1st of June. And they brought I'm sorry, I'm just looking for a photo. He was they brought the wedding forward because they didn't think Chris was going to be well enough to attend.
Oh.
But, you know,
it's amazing that he could, that everything worked out.
There we are all there.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a beautiful photo.
Yeah, there's my 3 boys, and Chris is the one in the blue jacket.
Amazing.
He shouldn't be out of bed, but there he is.
Can you walk us through, Kerry, you know, if you know, I mean, he was living there with you, what was he having on a daily basis? So you said that he was juicing and taking the E3. Can you tell us?
No, that was after he left.
Right.
So he was with me, and because he couldn't eat.
Right. Like so while he was fasting, so.
Oh, well, that started in February 2000, like this year, 2020. Right. So I looked after him from June 21 to when he moved back home to basically die.
Right.
In March 2022.
Wow.
So, well, he wasn't, you know, 2022 was when he was given the all clear early, right. And then he was given a terminal diagnosis in November 2022. Then he started the fasting diet in February 2023. And there he is there at the pool.
Oh, that's what a beautiful photo.
And
there's so much joy.
He should be dead in that photo. So
that's amazing.
Walk you through it. Now, I wasn't there doing the juicing with Chris. He did it all on his own.
Right.
But he was taking between 10 and 30 grams of AFA. Now, was it the AFA that helped? Probably did. I don't have any evidence to suggest that it did or whether it didn't.
Right.
But the juice detox and the fasting diet derived from all of the experts has provided an outcome that was absolutely unexpected.
That's incredible. Just incredible. What a testament to, you know, the power of nature and, you know, the superfoods and allowing your body the time and space to heal and recover without putting everything else in, and the toxicity of pharmaceuticals and all of that as well.
Well, that's absolutely right. But the other thing is that most people aren't aware of the danger of sugar. Like cancer thrives on sugar. So he cut, like he used to have the occasional beer. He doesn't anymore. There is no sugar in his diet at all. So his diet, as of right now, is the juices, plus he's allowed to have some tomato, some lettuce, all in the juicer, and some cucumber, which he hates.
Really? I love cucumber.
Yeah, well.
Hang on, Nick, go back a step. He puts tomato and lettuce in the juicer. I've never heard of, that's interesting.
Yep. All in, put it into the cup, and
good for him.
3 times a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I can ring Chris right now and he'll talk to me, and he just looks so good. Now he's coming down to Melbourne next Friday for the Brisbane Lions Collingwood game next Friday night.
Right.
So
fantastic.
I can't wait to see him, but he looks so good, Gay.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm absolutely delighted.
Here's the kicker. Here's something that you may or may not, or your listeners may or may not be aware of. Because he was given a terminal diagnosis from a specialist, his current specialist in Canberra is never allowed to override that diagnosis.
How does that work?
He will always be terminally ill.
What?
Yep.
How does that work?
Not allowed to change it.
Is that some kind of regulation? Like, why is
that?
that?
Yeah. So you're not allowed to change a specialist diagnosis. You just can't. So I said to Chrissy, I said, mate, you look wonderful for a terminally ill guy. And
doesn't the new diagnosis of the updated information of where he's currently at and the new test to show that there's no lesions or that they've stopped growing, doesn't that override?
No. And in Victoria...
That's baffling to me.
Yeah, in Victoria, your health records are never yours. So when Chris moved from Melbourne to Canberra... Right. He had to go through FOI to get his medical records released, and that took 3 months.
That's insane.
They're not your property.
That's
so
crazy.
If you want your medical records, you've got to put a freedom of information request in, pay for it, of course, and then they're released to your new doctor.
That's crazy.
I didn't know that.
I've never heard of that either.
I don't know whether that's Melbourne centric. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Chris wasn't able to get any comfort from his new specialist because he didn't have the reports. Now, sure, he told him what was going on, but the specialist, at his first appointment said, Chris, mate, if you just came in off the street, I'd send you home and say, there's nothing sinister going on here. So the other disturbing thing is that the specialists don't want to know what he's done to provide a better and health outcome.
See, that's shocking to me because, wouldn't they just be, if nothing else, as a human being, curious to know how he's, reversed everything and now showing signs of, great health and vitality again?
Not interested. In fact, when he went back to Canberra, after watching, he actually died twice during chemo because he was allergic to it.
Oh my gosh.
So when he went back to Canberra and the specialist said, how about we start another round of chemo? Now, I'm not sure whether what he was telling me is absolute truth, but he leant across the table, grabbed the specialist by the throat and said, no, ain't happening. I'm going to seek other options. So I've actually got that report. So in the end, Gay, if I would have stayed a traditionalist, pharmaceutical-loving person, but changed my attitude through E3 Live, and I never went through that experience with E3 Live, there is a chance that the chain of events with Chris, and if they'd have unfolded the same way as what they have, Chris would be dead right now.
Yeah. Because
there's no way in the world I would have gone down that route after being, raised by these nursing sisters who are my grandmother, my mother, and my auntie. I would have had no need to question it.
Absolutely. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, the power of knowledge and arming yourself and doing your own personal research. I don't think there can be enough said about the importance of that. And so having people like David Wolfe and Brian Clements from, the director of Hippocrates Health Center in Florida, and having Gabriel Cousins, the renowned doctor as well, having them on your side as a team of experts, and the couple in the Klamath Lake region to assist you in formulating a plan that's going to contribute and help him heal. You can't put a price on that. There's no,
Yeah, well, whether it was E3, whether it wasn't, whether his body actually did it on its own, my son is fine.
That's the most important thing. Absolutely, that's the most important
thing. So I've got 3 boys. I've got one in Canberra, I've got one in Melbourne, I've got one in, Benny's in Houston, Texas. He's now expecting his second child. So like after all this trauma, I now feel peace.
Oh, that's fantastic, Kerry.
If I didn't wake up this morning I go knowing that I absolutely have done my absolute best for my family.
That's incredible. And do you feel like your experiences have also been somewhat of an underlying driving force, a part of your passion and motivation to want to help others with, working for and, being able to, distribute the E3 Live within Australia?
Yeah, look, that's a great question also, Gail. You're very, very clever. I love how you frame your questions because they mean something. So for that, thank you. I think the journey, and a lot of people have said it's not the destination, it's the journey that creates who you are. The challenge is that this is my wish, I wish better health could be on a level playing field where we all get the same opportunity to provide analysis and thought and dialogue over everything on the market. Like if you went to Coles and Woolies right now or any health food store, if you've been down the vitamin and mineral aisle,
I have many times.
There's a million products.
Yeah, there
is. A million brands, and the average punter wouldn't know what to take. But they saw, Ricky Ponting on the news, or they saw an elite sport athlete saying, this is the stuff. As plant-based people, we're not allowed to make claims about food. That's why, like if you go and buy a box of bananas, there's no thing on the outside about nutritional paneling.
Right.
Or you've got to do the research on why I'm going to eat this banana. But
yes,
it's a fair chance it's going to be good for you, or an apple, or an orange. But we're not allowed. So my wish list before I give it away is I'd like a level playing field where, you know what, let's go to a deserted island. All the CEOs from all the pharmaceuticals and the multivitamin companies, I'll take along my E3 Live.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
You can bring everything.
I'll come and film that because that would be interesting.
And let's see who lasts.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, we'll see who lasts.
Yeah.
So I'd love to do that.
Yes.
That would make it a level playing field.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I would say, guess what? I'll have a lazy $10. I'll be the last one that has to leave.
Definitely.
Yep.
I'd love to touch back on, you mentioned NASA before and science, and I've read recently that algae is now being used with astronauts over there. It's being tested rather to extend or to produce, to convert the carbon dioxide released by the astronauts into producing greater oxygen and in turn food in space. So can you just share a little bit about that? I find that absolutely fascinating. How is it sort of evolving?
Okay. There is a famous nutritionist in America. They're not available here in Australia, unfortunately. Her name is Catherine Arnst. And she said the algae industry will be the largest industry by the end of 2000s. So by the year 2100,
right,
algae will be the biggest industry on the planet. And there's a number of reasons for that.
I was going to say why. Why is that?
Yeah, okay. Within 5 to 10 years, all of your shopping bags will be algae. Your car tyres will be algae.
How are they doing that?
Insulation in your home will be algae. Right. Because it's non-toxic and it doesn't degrade.
Right.
Okay. Now, there's two parts. There's one part of the question that I will answer, but there's a secondary part, converting carbon dioxide into oxygen. That's what photosynthesis is.
Yes.
The algae takes in the carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. Algae creates 50% of the oxygen on this planet. If you think it's trees, or if you think it's other plants, or and there is a simple way to find out whether it's a vitamin or a mineral. Vitamins are grown above the ground, minerals are grown below the ground. It's a very simple distinction on what is a vitamin and what are minerals and what is the purpose.
Right.
So what algae will do is that you can imagine coming home with your shopping and you've got an algae bag.
Mm-hmm.
You put it under the tap and it goes back to nature. It's gone. You don't have to degrade. You don't have to, put it in a heap. And then
Completely recyclable.
Absolutely 100% recyclable. So, the thing that you will notice that there's a lot of green apartments now popping up all over, certainly in Sydney and certainly here in Melbourne, where they're growing algae. Now, there is another company in Sydney called Young Henry's, and I'll get to your point in a second.
Right.
Young Henry's are now using an algae cylinder to remove all the CO2 that is created when you're brewing beer. They filter the CO2 through an algae cylinder, and it takes out the carbon dioxide and releases oxygen. So they're net zero.
Right.
This beer man, and it will catch on.
Right.
The bigger brewers will get it, but Young Henry's in Newtown.
Incredible.
If you're ever around, go and see their green algae.
Yes, I will.
It is.
I'll get you to send me the details for that because it sounds fascinating.
Young Henry's in Newtown, the only brewer on the planet currently using an algae cylinder to purify or extract the CO2, the carbon dioxide, I mean, and they're now a carbon neutral beer manufacturer.
It's amazing.
Unbelievable. Now,
that's amazing.
So that's from a purity point of view. We've been supplying NASA since 1995. But from a nutritional point of view, rather than inhaling carbon dioxide and exhaling oxygen, which is what the plant does anyway. So what NASA have done through their research is that they've said 1 gram of E3 Live is equivalent to 1,000 grams of fresh fruit and vegetables.
Right.
That's how powerful it is. So when an asteroid they need high levels of nutrition because you can't take a cow up there, a chook or a fish.
And they've got limited space and storage and
algae.
All of that.
Algae is part of their diet.
That's
so
incredible.
That's where they get their nutrition, which helps their immune system, which means they don't get sick.
Right. Fascinating.
So looking at it from a nutritional perspective or a sustainability perspective, and understanding that Catherine Arndt is just the most brilliant author. She says that algae will be the biggest industry by the turn of this century.
Right. Amazing.
So you just got to understand what side of history you want to be on when it comes to algae.
Yeah, fantastic.
So don't be scared. Go and research.
Can you tell me some practical and creative ways that somebody wanting to perhaps try E3 Live could incorporate it into their diet?
Yeah, we've teamed up with a lot of chefs and brilliant creators of food concepts. Matthew Kenny, for example, loves E3 Live. There are a number of others, and we've had people that have made blue vein cheese,
right?
Using Blue Magic.
Amazing.
Yeah. On our website, we've got a recipes page.
Okay.
It is the most beautiful lineup of the most creative people on this planet.
Oh, I'll definitely put that in the link below. Yes.
Yeah. So you go to our website, recipes, and there they all are. These are AFA recipes, these are Brain On recipes, and these are Blue Magic recipes. And some of the pictures, or even if you follow us on our Instagram, I think we've got about 8,000 or 9,000 followers. If you have a look at our Instagram page, at E3 Live Australia, if you can find a more gorgeous Instagram page, I want to know about it.
Really vibrant.
Unbelievable. And all of these people are posting and tagging us because we were the ones that created the Blue Revolution in 2016. That's in fact where we first got in touch with Novak Djokovic and his crew, because Novak, I know we treated him horribly down here in Melbourne a couple of years ago, kicking him out of the country when he was here to defend his Australian Open. But Novak is the most wonderful, beautiful, open human and healthy person. And he was going to create a blue hydration drink,
Right.
certified organic, that had no sugar in it. We might revisit that, but you can imagine what we had to go through.
I can
because
imagine.
Novak Djokovic didn't want any of his people taking this product if it was going to make them sick.
Right.
So he was going to launch it around the world. And I have a feeling that we'll still do that one day. But he and his team were just gorgeous people. And we
Amazing.
made this concept group, this concept food. And when people heard that Novak was on board, we then got all of these people from around the world that wanted E3, not from E3 Live in America.
Right.
They wanted it from me.
Yeah. Amazing.
So we're sending this blue magic and our AFA and our brain on all around the world to these chefs and creators. And the problem is, and look, I've always supported e-commerce in Australia. But in all honesty, we're about 20 to 25 years behind the United States.
I agree.
Wholeheartedly. If you went to any cafe or restaurant, you could get an E3 Live something, a smoothie, a drink, an ice cream.
Are we not allowed to do that in Australia?
Yeah, we can, but
right.
you need a visionary, someone that is prepared to go. Like, I'd love they make a blue beer in Japan.
Oh, that's amazing. I've never heard of that. That's great.
They make blue cold pressed juices.
Yes.
All over, except here.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Australia, but even the plant-based scene and the vegan scene here, a lot of the really great vegan restaurants have closed down, even prior to COVID. It wasn't a COVID thing.
Yeah.
A couple are popping up now, but we're certainly nowhere near, the volume of people and the popularity within, just the accessibility of products in America.
I thought, if I can promote our brand, then someone out there is going to get it and go, how come I've never heard of this?
That's right.
How about, and this is what once we dealt with Novak, I went to a lot of brewers of kombucha.
Oh, right, yes.
Can you imagine a blue kombucha on tap at a hotel?
Oh, it would be brilliant.
Where if someone probably had one or half a beer too many, you could pour them a blue kombucha and they can start to heal on their way home.
Yeah, incredible.
And that would work.
That's amazing.
But to get someone conceptually to embrace that, even a water kefir, even any health drink, cold pressed juice. If you have a look through our Instagram page or our Facebook page and have a look at the drinks, and nobody in Australia is doing it right now.
That's so fascinating to me. What about at spas? If someone goes in to get a massage and be the welcome drink before they go in for their massage, don't you think? Or at hotels, when people arrive at a hotel and they, in Thailand, that's a common thing. It's beautiful. They bring out this gorgeous tray and they have flowers on the tray with a wet towel, and you get this beautiful welcome drink. What if we were to, implement something like that here in Australia?
Yeah, well, we did have a colon cleansing business in Bondi.
All right.
Every time someone came in for their treatment or their procedure, they were given 15 mils of Brain On Supreme.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's a great idea. Actually, I know quite a few colonics here because I've done a few over my time. But
so all of these products, because the majority of our products come in liquid, which is the most dynamic, powder. It can't be as dynamic as its liquid because it's close to its natural state.
Right.
And then we've got capsules for the ultra lazy.
Yeah.
So the powder, it goes into the capsules. So we've got liquid powder and capsules, which provides the opportunity for people to work E3 Live into their busy schedule.
Yes. Do you know, it's funny, I remember being in the kitchen, and I actually had my dad over one day, and I was doing some cold press juicing because it's a big part of my life. And I was playing around with the E3 Live just to see the variety of different tastes that I could, produce. And my favorite juice recipe of all time was E3 Live. So I cold press juiced pineapple juice first. Yes. I added fresh thyme, which is thyme leaves, put those in, and I had mint leaves, and then I blended that with, just in a glass, I cracked open a Thai young coconut, and the last thing I did was stir in the E3 Live, and it was the most beautiful, not only color, vibrant color, but the flavor was, it was like my taste buds went on
algae.
it wasn't like algae. It camouflaged the flavor, but it just gave it this refreshing quality to the drink.
Yeah.
My dad had never tasted anything like it. Both our eyes were nearly popping out of our head. Our taste buds were zinging. It was just, it was remarkable. It was so great. And we felt good after it.
It was funny. I went around Australia with David Wolfe when he was here.
Yes.
For his last Australian tour. I think it was about 2016. And the night of the first day at the International Convention Centre at Darling Harbour, David held a cacao party.
All right, yes.
All right. So he said, Kerry, how about you mix up some Brain On Supreme, which is rocket fuel, by the way, and leave it on the counter. So for the people who are getting high on the cacao can also get a double dose and feel the power of the Brain On Supreme, which is 4 times the PEA and 4 times the phycocyanin. The next day when I turned up after the cacao party, I had all of these people with their eyes were like dinner plates. They said, we haven't slept. We haven't slept. What was in that? What is in that?
Because cacao is a natural stimulant anyway, isn't it?
Well, PEA is naturally found in cacao and chocolate.
Right.
Well, our PEA is derived from the algae, not
That's
from
amazing.
chocolate.
So I'm just thinking now, it must be an incredible tool for kids to take when they're doing HSC and exams.
Well, we tried this in Queensland. We used to sell our product through a franchise of health food stores. Unfortunately, they went broke. And their spin was, if you're a student, come in and get your 1 gram satchel of Brain On, take a few mils out of your water, tip the Brain On in there, shake it up, it's dissolved so easily, and drink it through the afternoon while you're doing your exams. It was unbelievably popular.
Yeah, natural alternative with no sugar and nothing bad in it, no nasties, no preservatives.
But your eyes go like dinner plates.
Yeah.
But your focus is so acute. So I'm also going to give you a trade secret.
Yes, please.
Nobody else knows. Okay. We have a couple of concept people in Sydney. One is Indigo, a Double Bay. That's a beautiful, beautiful restaurant.
Right.
That make, they use our Blue Magic in their concept. I hope they don't mind me telling you that it's our product because it's okay. And the other one is the Buddha Bowl Cafe in Newtown.
Oh, I love them.
So while you're at Young Henry's looking out the algae bioreactor,
right,
go to the Buddha Bowl. And the secret is when you're using the blue algae, what turns it into a miracle of taste bud delight is to add passion fruit.
Oh, is it? Okay. That's one ingredient I didn't try.
You add passion fruit to your Blue Magic and you'll go, that tastes nothing like algae. That's the secret herb and spice.
Oh, I can think of many non-alcoholic cocktails or juices and your smoothie bowls and all sorts of things with that.
Well, I wanted to make a blue vodka. I wanted to make a blue gin. I wanted all these things because the nutritional value starts that journey of inquisitive need. Why am I feeling better?
Yes.
And once you start to feel better, you want to know more. You want to interrogate what you know and open and broaden your mind and think critically. I've been incredibly fortunate that I've had a wonderful education during my journey. And it's all based on critical thinking. Absolutely everything. Okay. I don't want people to go and think that they've got to revisit their belief system. That's not what I'm saying. But just be open-minded to things that are new, because if you think you know everything now, wait till you revisit what you'll be thinking in 5 or 10 years.
Oh, absolutely.
When you come home with your algae shopping bag, or these new buildings that they don't want to use. Look at the pink bat debacle from a number of years ago. Like, they turned out to be toxic, and all the things that we were told were safe the pink bats, asbestos, thalidomide, you name it. I could keep going.
The non-stick fry pans.
The non-stick fry pan.
Well, that was a big one. Yeah.
Wow. And I go, the doctors who were doing smoking ads in the 60s to say smoking doesn't cause cancer.
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And me being a 10-year-old boy, being terrified in the 70s that the next ice age was coming. How am I going to play golf? How am I going to play soccer? If the whole place is... But that disappeared within the next 10 years, and a new phenomenon has raised its head.
Looking ahead, what is the most exciting thing that you're working on with E3 Live and its potential for the future, other than what we've already discussed?
Okay. I do not have the infrastructure to service E3 Live to all of the health food stores and cafes around Australia. I've had lengthy discussions with Tamara over the last couple of months, because through COVID and post-COVID, the cost of getting products into Australia from America has doubled. So I need a distributor that has the infrastructure to go to all of these places and put E3 Live on all the shelves around Australia. There's a packet of AFA. We're changing all our packaging. If you have a look at our website now, it's completely different to what you would have known the glass jars to be. They're now in food-grade Mylar bags.
Beautiful.
In fact, there's our new blue match.
Oh, it's beautiful. Very nice.
So rather than having 3 SKUs per product, we only need 1.
Right.
So the exciting part is that if more people see E3 Live on a shelf, as that pouch sits up and people can look at the nutritional values on the back, the certified organic, the vegan and all that, someone's going to walk into a health food store one day and go, how come I've never heard of this? So I will then step back from it. I'll still do all the regulatory stuff because E3 Live only trusts the IP with me. They won't give to anyone else what they will need to get an import permit, so I have to be involved.
Right.
And I'm happy to do that for nothing. I'll just do that. So my goal is that if I can get it to all the cafes or get someone to make kombuchas or water kafirs or even a blue water.
Yes, I know that would be amazing.
Then someone's going to come into that health food store and go, how come I've never heard of this? Why? Who may have a business like they are, like a private label company that uses all different types of ingredients to make the ultimate superfood, either in powder or capsules. Maybe we could be in that conversation. So when you go and pick up, oh, it's got E3 AFA in it. Oh, it's got E3 Live Blue Match. Oh, it's got Brain On in it. So I believe my value to the company is when people come in and want to private label, like they've come up with this blend, we'll have a bit of chlorella, we'll have a bit of spirulina, we'll have a bit of astaxanthin, we'll have a bit of this. Oh, let's look at E3 Live. So that's one part of the dynamic. The second part is the collaborative partnerships. People who want to use our product for their juices and for their kombuchas. I think that is also a valuable role for me to play.
Absolutely.
Because there's nothing I can't take out of my brain and put it somewhere where someone could learn what I know.
Yes.
So if I can get someone to get into all of the cafes, all of the health food stores, and I can deal on the bulk products, either as a private label or as a collaborative partnership. Amazing. That's the exciting part for me.
That's great. Fantastic. And I know that transformative stories are always, very, very powerful. Have you got a particular story in mind that comes to mind of one of your customers or somebody that you know other than your son? I mean, that's incredibly powerful on its own. But, I know that you shared with me many years ago about the racehorses and how E3 Live was being used to help animals as well.
Yeah, look,
you probably got so many stories that you don't know where to start.
Yeah. In 1997, I had a few racehorses that were being trained. I went to this trainer of 40 years and I said, listen, I've got this algae. I got no idea what it's going to do to a horse. I have no idea. But can you trial it on my 4 or 5 of my horses? And he said, is it going to get me into trouble? I said, only if you think them running faster is going to get you into trouble. So after a month, he rings me up and he said, Kerry, get up here now. Now, bearing in mind, in 97, we had no science. All we knew was that if you take it, you're better.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up and I said, am I in trouble? What is in this? And I said, it's blue-green algae. He said, have you got enough for me to put it on my whole stable? He said, the horses' coats, you can comb your hair in them. The recovery after a hard run takes a matter of hours rather than days. Their hoof health, I've got horses here that have got bad hooves, and the farrier said you can't put a shoe on that, that look like brand new. This is in 4 weeks.
That's incredible.
And a number of other outcomes. But look, the horse industry is incredibly complicated from a regulatory point of view as well. So I'm more concentrating now on the pleasure and performance horses, horses they take to the Olympics, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Polo horses that can recover while they're just eating some grass over here and then can go on for the next chukker. Like, it is unbelievable.
Mm.
And the beautiful part about it, for a 500-kilo horse, you only need 5 grams of powder.
That's amazing.
That's it.
That's amazing. That's nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So the horses, and I did have another friend of mine who I met in Canberra, and his dad at 80 years of age was diagnosed with terminal liver cancer,
mm-hmm.
and they gave him a month, sent him home. Tony came to me and he said, Kerry, I've got to try Dad on your E3 Live. He said, you give it to me, I'll drive it up from Canberra to Maitland. That's where his dad lived. And because his dad lost hope, and there's a beautiful message behind this, because traditionally, and Chris, my son, never had one bad moment or a woe is me moment. And I believe that was a contributing factor. Now, this particular guy got hold of the 6 fresh frozen, drove it up to Maitland to his dad and said, Dad, this can help. I don't know how much, but it can help. So as Christmas went and his dad started to improve, Tony used to go overseas for the Canberra winter. So he'd leave on the 1st of July and he'd come back on the 30th of September. So his dad was going that good, he decided to drive to Maitland and say, Dad, how are you feeling? I'm thinking about not going overseas. He drives into his driveway and here's his dad on the roof pulling leaves out of his gutter.
What?
Yeah, 80.
That's amazing.
This is in June. He's supposed to be dead 6 months ago.
Oh, gosh.
And he said, Dad, take it easy. You're 80.
Yeah.
I said, Tony, you have no idea. I've got noni juice. I've got the E3 Live. I've got, and then he went and did his own research. He said, I'll take this now and take that there. So we became a part of his overall regime.
Right.
Because the more he studied and the more he researched, the more inquisitive he became. And this is and all of a sudden his attitude towards life had changed.
Yeah, right.
So Tony went overseas on the 1st of July. I came back on the 30th of September, went down to up to his dad's place from Canberra up to Maitland. And he said, Dad, how you going? He said, mate, I could run around the bloody block.
That's brilliant.
Right? It does get sad now, but there's a reason. In the September, Tony's dad died of a stroke.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because he couldn't manage, as an 80-year-old, the additional vitality that he had. He had to remember that he was still 80. He didn't die of the cancer, okay? He didn't. And I learned an enormous amount of that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the psychology and the outcomes, it's managing where you are in life.
Yeah, definitely.
And understanding you can't run around the block at 80. But he didn't die of cancer.
Wow.
And Tony, we gave his dad an extra 10 months that he didn't have.
Right.
That's a transformative story because I feel sorry that his dad died.
Yes.
He was a lovely, lovely man. But he learnt so much in his 80s that a lot of people don't know now in
Absolutely.
their 20s.
And also the quality of life in that last chapter of his life was greatly improved.
On the roof.
And he's drinking noni juice, like, you know.
He loved the noni juice.
Yes.
So, look.
It's a matter of perspective too, isn't it?
It is a matter of perspective because, look, people are going to either be believers or they're not. Oh, not a lot of people sit on the fence these days. They're either with you or they're against you.
Yes.
And from what I've seen from a regulatory perspective, there's got to be a reason why no one wants us here.
Yes.
There has to be a reason.
That's another story for
they don't
another
like
day.
Our labels.
Yes.
Yeah. So they don't like our labels.
Yes.
Maybe that's not it. But I love what I do. And
that's evident.
My friends have always, Kerry, why do you keep doing this to yourself? Like when another disaster happens. Why are you doing this? Because I've seen what it does.
The healing power, the benefits.
Yeah. And I'd love to think one day that a Hippocrates would set up a wellness and health centre in Australia.
Oh,
but they'll never be able to. They'll never get it approved.
Yeah, that's true. It's always been one of my dreams actually to assist and contribute and potentially collaborate with a health centre in Australia. But I agree with you. Yeah.
Won't happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Won't happen.
So Kerry, let everybody know where they can find you on the web and how's the best way to contact you? I know you said you had Instagram, but I'd love to put all of your details below. And also you mentioned the lady that was talking about the research with algae being, the most important change that we're going to see in the future. So could you just provide us those details and then I'll put them in the description box below as well?
Yes. Catherine Arnst is the lady. She has her own superfood range of products in America.
Okay, great.
Brilliant and insightful lady. The easiest way to contact me is either through our website, which is e3live.com.au. There's a contact us button there. Or you can email me direct to info at e3live.com.au. Or through any of the social medias. We're on WhatsApp, we're on Pinterest, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Google. So there's no way that you can miss me.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Kerry, thank you so much for taking the time to share your incredible knowledge, extensive wisdom with us today. Have you got any final message or words of inspiration and wisdom that you can share with the guests and the listeners today?
Yeah. I'll close with this, Gay. Learn more, and learn more than that, and research until it hurts. With whatever you're doing, certainly in the health space, the more you learn, the more you want to learn. So if you get up one day and you want to go, I need to find out more, that's the secret.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, I've got to commend you. I think I'm honored to have you here today. And I think your dedication and commitment to exploring and researching and E3 Live and the benefits of that and getting the word out there is absolutely remarkable. So thank you very much for all the incredible and inspiring work that you're doing and sharing that message, because you're opening people's eyes here in Australia to alternatives that we would never have access to if it wasn't for you. So you're changing lives every single day.
Yeah.
And it's truly exciting and it's admirable. Very
Thank
inspiring.
you so much, Gay. It's great to catch up with you after all these
Yes, it is. I know it certainly is. Yeah. Alrighty. And to everybody that's watching today, if you've found value in this conversation here with Kerry, I'm sure you have, please do us a favor and hit the like button or subscribe. And please, most importantly, share it with your friends and family, someone that you think could benefit from this conversation and the knowledge and wisdom that Kerry has so generously shared here with us today. Thank you all again. And until next time, bye for now.